Good morning and welcome along to another episode of Tannadice Tales from Dundee United. And I guess today, the main headline is there aren't any Tannadice Tales because every single game is away from home. We've got 5 on the bounce in different competitions and a real chance for us to continue our progress. We've had some bumps in the road, there's no lying about that. And you can see in the top right, we've started conceding goals again. But more importantly, thank you to everyone that's come along and is live and active in the chat already. It does make a big difference. So Dylan, Mark, John, all good morning. Welcome along. Thank you for coming in. Mark, Soccer AM, FM and me. What a Saturday morning, eh? And more importantly, it's FA Cup weekend as well. So something to get excited about for us down south. Always love an FA Cup weekend. I know it's not the most exciting draw this year with only Bournemouth outside the Premier League. But Southampton are out of form, so that should be a good game. Everton v City. I wonder if Ancelotti's got a treat in store. And then a couple of big games tomorrow that are live and free as well, which is good. So thank you for coming in. I need to get a new chair quite desperately because I've got the classic sinking chair through the middle. So if I disappear at any point or gradually get lower, you know why. But thank you everyone for coming in. Thank you for being here before. It does make a massive difference. If you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. And of course, come and get involved in the chat. We're all a friendly bunch here. Tom, chances of 2 All-English European finals? I don't think so, to be honest, because the Champions League, possibly, because I think Tuchel will prioritise it. The Europa League, I'll be honest with you, Tom, I take aside all of the political stuff with Slavia Prague, which is a disgrace, and the player should get banned for a long time and shouldn't see the football pitch again this season. They're a very good football team. The centre-forward Seema is going to be in the Premier League next year. I'll be shocked if he's not the next West Ham one with Soucek and Soufal. But they're a good side, so I don't know that Arsenal will get past them. But of course, we don't know what's going to happen on the non-footballing side. I hope, to be honest, that there's a statement here because it was quite clear what happened, let's be honest. And no matter what side of the fence you sit on, club-wise or supporter-wise, it's not what we want to see in football. But Manchester United looked really strong and solid away at AC Milan, albeit they had one scare. But then last year they were toothless against Sevilla and they only need one bad night in front of goal to ruin their chances. So I think the Champions League is more likely, obviously because there's 3 left. But I guess Chelsea and Liverpool are prioritising the Champions League. City can afford to because they've already wrapped up the title. So it's going to be an interesting end to the season. I think the Champions League is almost more likely to be an all-British final. But then PSG Bayern, that was last year's final, so you can't write those 2 off. Tom, of course you picked Arsenal as the club not to make the final. Don't think they'll be the only one. I'm not convinced United will make it either. I don't think... I wouldn't be shocked if there's no English teams in the Europa League final. I think of the 2, United are slightly more likely, but I'm not convinced either will. The Champions League, I can see where the thought's coming from though. But there are a couple of very good sides left. Zidane with Real Madrid in the Champions League is one of the greatest combinations in modern history. So we don't want to get too committal at this stage. All clubs will prioritise it at this point. Champions League, potentially. I would argue if you're tight in your domestic league, you might not as much. I don't know about the Europa League as well, though. If Arsenal now, let's be honest, because of some of the other teams forming the league, Arsenal have got a real chance at the top 4. Are you telling me they might not prioritise it? Getting into the top 4 of the league and guaranteeing it rather than going to the lottery of a final? I don't know. It's an interesting debate, actually. It's one that's always raged on. But our first game of the morning today is against Aberdeen, and I've just sort of willy-nilly flipped through to it, but I've forgotten to show you the 2 results that we had off camera. So you were with me up till Celtic, which was a good 0-0 draw with our reserves. We did, though, drop more disappointing points when we got back from the international break. A 2-2 draw against Motherwell. I've never seen a start like this game. 2 goals in 15 minutes. Awful defending across the board. Individual mistakes from McCann and from Finlay. Let them in. Xander Clark perhaps could have done better with one of them. But Mockery and O'Reilly got us back in it. And in the end, we were unfortunate not to get a winner. A 4-2 win followed our home to Mulder in the Europa League. We sort of half rotated here. So Siegrist came back in. Dehaney and Kerr alongside the 2 first choice left-sided defenders. Holsgrove came in and did well. The likes of Johnston and Smith on the wings. And Stevie Malone got a game as well. But 2 goals for Holsgrove, 1 for Shankland from the spot. and a first for Paul Smith as well. But now we've got 5 away games in a row. One in Europe at Lyon, which is going to be very difficult. A League Cup quarter-final at Ayr, which is crucial. Because don't forget, Celtic and Rangers are out. We're now the favourites for that competition. And in Hibs today, Aberdeen and Livingston away from home in the Scottish Premiership. And that takes us through to the next international break. So a really interesting time for the club. Dylan, thank you so much. Do appreciate it. It really is kind of you. Thank you for the donation. It does make a massive difference. I hope the little animation things worked. I've still not got the 2 screens to check it out. And the phone's a little bit behind. But thank you. It does make a massive difference. And thank you all for popping in as well. It's lovely to have the chat so active today. Greeny, good morning. Last week's donator on the cards. Thank you again for that. And Tom, I meant our clubs. United aren't winning the league and won't finish lower than 4th. No, that's true. I don't think we can get 4th. 6th at best. Is the table not as tight as I think it is? Thank you to everyone coming in as well. I do appreciate it greatly. Please chuck a thumbs up on it. Come and get involved in the chat. A quick thank you to Dylan again this morning for being the donator. It does make a massive difference. And of course, just for being involved in the chat, for watching the videos in your numbers still. We're still averaging 200 an episode, which at this stage of the year is ridiculous. So I can't thank you enough for it. And I've seen a fair few of you over on the podcast channel too. We've had another mad week over there with Charlton and Pompey appointing managers, 2 big clubs in League One. And it's all just blowing our minds a little bit at the minute. So thank you for coming along. Let's have a look at the Premier League table, because I'm not sure Arsenal were that far away, were they? I mean, they're certainly not in a relegation battle that they were 15 games ago. It's 10 points, Tom. And you've got a game in hand as well. So win that is 7. I guess the only difference is, I mean, Liverpool will prioritise the Champions League now, surely. Tottenham are out of the Europa League. They've got to win or bust. Unless they win the Carabao Cup, of course. But I think next season, does that only put them in the Europa Conference? I'm not sure. Dylan, good to hear that the animation did work. And just a little thanks. It's greatly appreciated. I really do appreciate the efforts and the support for the channel. And just the fact that, like, when I come in at 27 minutes past to set up and put it on, to see that 3 or 4 of you are already active in the chat and, you know, on social media, the support's been great as well. So it is a massive appreciation from me. And thank you for the incredible support as always. So who do you think the top 4 of the Premier League is going to be then? Because, I mean, it's not a league we cover normally. Obviously on a podcast, we work on everything below it. So although I watch a lot of the games flittingly when they're on TV, I don't really look desperately at the table. West Ham, you would imagine, can't sustain it all season. Leicester, United and City's probably already done. Although we thought that about Leicester last season. I don't know. Everton aren't consistent enough, particularly at home. They've been pretty bang average, so I don't think they'll be there. Liverpool, with the side they've got defensively, can't do it in the league consistently, but they might win a Champions League. Tottenham have to. Villa probably won't be good enough. They've not been consistent enough, particularly, again, too many draws against lower opposition. But then that leaves Arsenal. So, potentially. But yeah, I kind of see what you're coming from as top 6 perhaps rather than 4. Andrew, let's go. Thank you for popping in. Wow, we have shot up in viewers and likes there. That is massive. Only 1 off double figures already. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you all for coming in. Come and get involved in the chat. Let us know who your team's got today. Luton are away to Preston after a good win in midweek, so it's going to be an interesting game, that one. But the FA Cup's what we're all excited about as well. Andrew, Bamford to United this summer. I mean, stranger things have happened. I honestly think they would probably go for an Ollie Watkins, just because, if they were going to go for one of the 2 from lower down the division, because they'd want someone who's going to be a bit better aerially and a bit more dynamic in hold-up play, whereas Bamford's always looking to go forward. He sort of drops into the space and plays through. So I could see him clashing with Fernandes slightly, but it wouldn't shock me if either of them went, because that's the market they should be looking at, rather than taking big gambles. But look out for that. I know we don't want to talk about the politics again, but Seema from Slavia Prague, the striker, he's unbelievable. I'd be shocked if he's not in the Premier League. Of course, West Ham's a natural link because of Souček and Kufal. But I don't know. He seems the one that should be in the Premier League for me. Tom, City, United, Chelsea, Leicester. I don't know about Chelsea if they prioritise it. If Chelsea prioritise the Champions League, I'm not sure. They're still in the FA Cup as well, aren't they, Chelsea? They in tomorrow's ties? I've already forgotten tomorrow's ties already. I've been so focused on remembering today's ones. Yeah, so they've got Sheffield United at home tomorrow. So, if I were Chelsea, I would go out for the 2 cups. But, again, top 4's probably his minimum remit, isn't it? Makes it difficult. Dylan, looks like Cavani's about to quit United. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird situation, isn't it? He was doing really well until probably end of January, start of February. Suddenly he's just disappeared from the squad. He seems unsettled in England. There's lots of agent comments which never help. It's very bizarre, isn't it? 6-pointer against St Johnstone today. John, thank you for popping in. 2 Johns in the chat early on. Lovely to have you both along. Thank you all for joining in as always. To be in double figures on a Saturday morning this far into FM. 1 thumbs up off double figures as well. You're all blowing my mind. Thank you so much. Let's have a look at the Scottish Premier League table, because it was very tight in the race for the top 6 split when I last looked. Of course, as I mentioned, now it's all on Sky. I don't really get to see it. So I'm normally left with the Championship. Oh wow, it is big, isn't it? So there's 1 game to go. If St Mirren get a result, obviously it's out of everyone else's hands. But if they lose, Dundee United or St Johnstone could get there yet, because the goal difference is only 8 apart for all of them. And who have St Mirren got? St Mirren are away at Hamilton. So you would expect them to win that, but Hamilton are scrapping for their lives, so you never know. St Johnstone, Ross County, Dundee United, Aberdeen. Oh. I mean, everyone's focused on the Old Firm, which essentially is a friendly at this point. Or a meaningless game, I should say. Not a friendly. But those 3 games, St Mirren, St Johnstone and Dundee United, so much to play for. Particularly with 5th next season getting the Europa Conference qualifiers. That's going to be massive. Greeny, don't you do the very tight at the top. Dylan, the whole racing's been knocked him off form. Yeah, it is a shame really, isn't it? But again, it's something we've got to... It's just being careful with actions. It's really bizarre. Dylan, have you heard that Celtic won't give Rangers a guard of honour? I wouldn't have expected it, in truth. To be brutally honest. I certainly wouldn't have expected that. But there's nothing wrong with it. I don't think Rangers would do it in reserve. They didn't do it before, I don't think, when it was last time. Oh, there you go. Mark's just confirmed it. So I don't think it is a big deal. For your big rivals, you don't need a guard of honour from the other team. The shame is they haven't got one from their fans, but, you know, it's one of those things. But they'll be happy enough to have won it, I'm sure. Shane, good morning even. Welcome along. 11 viewers, only 10 likes. I tell you what, that's not a bad ratio. I'll absolutely take it. Greeny, old firms are never meaningless. Greeny, the Rangers fan, is always going to argue the importance. They just want to sort of, what's the term? Dig it in, I guess. Make it even more painful for Celtic. Yeah, I think that's the problem, isn't it? Is that the politics off the pitch just goes too far. And that's the one rivalry where that's the case. Rather than being a bitter football rivalry, the politics just get too entrenched. But there are a lot of sensible Celtic fans as well who were very supportive of the situation in midweek. So let's try not to focus too much on a few idiots. But let's go and get into our first game against Aberdeen, or we'll never be done by the FA Cup tie. Thank you all so much for coming in, for making it so active in the chat. Thank you to Dylan for the donation already. It does make a big difference. And let's get into the first one. We've got a full team available. I'm worried a few won't be fit for Ayr United in midweek, which is now one of our biggest games. But our ambition, although the League Cup is a good opportunity for us now, it shouldn't be our main ambition for the season. So let's try and push in the other ones as well. Mark, tomorrow's more about next season than this one. Completely agree. I mean, let's be honest. Celtic's going to be all change in the summer. I mean that in terms of players. Probably a permanent manager. They're going to have a real fight on their hands to do their work early, because they're going to be in an early European qualifier, of course. And Rangers are going to have a lovely time. So, do you know what? Overall, it's really good for Scottish football what's happening next year. The introduction of the Europa Conference will help the sides a bit further down, hopefully to progress in Europe and bring in some coefficient points. Celtic, if they get their work right early in the summer, will have a chance of reaching the group stages. And Rangers are obviously always good in Europe under Steven Gerrard, so as long as Klopp doesn't leave Liverpool, that will still be the case. As Mockery goes to McCann, we've had a flying counter-attack here. Ali McCann gets in. And that's a pretty awful finish. It went miles wide in the end. Not what we wanted to see. As Finley finds Mitchell on the left-hand side to Colin Mockery. It's been a much better start than it was against Motherwell. And on the road, we perhaps have looked a bit better this season, ironically. As Dembele gets it out on the right-hand side, into Shankland, two running off him, goes wide to Brookin. Chance to cross from the edge of the box, back to Robertson, and just wide of the post. Not the best start in the world. Tom, that's why the North London derby is the best around. Almost always delivers. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure, to be honest. Greeny, behave yourself, Tom. Shane, how are St Mirren in 6th? Well, it's just one of those seasons, isn't it? The Kilmarnock one doesn't shock me too much because the investment's not there hugely. Sorry, just losing my voice there. But the pandemic has caused weird seasons across the world. I mean, the Irish Premiership, which I watch quite a lot, is a lot tighter than it would be normally. Look at League 1 and League 2 in England. It's crazy compared to normal. But St Mirren, I mean, the football they play, from what I've seen in highlights, looks decent. But it's just a bizarre season. And it does sort of depend on how many isolations, how many games in hand teams have had along the way, and all of those things. Tom, in terms of entertainment, I think it's up there. Well, I guess it is up there because, and I mean this politely, please don't take it the wrong way in recent years. Both teams can't really defend for toffee, and both teams on the biggest stage are prone to having a bad day at the office, or perhaps not delivering when it really matters. Like, there is no other derby in history, like that 4-4 one, that's going to happen that often. As Dembele's in, has to score here. Oh, if we could get a version of Sariki Dembele that could finish, we would be top of the SPL. It's the only thing missing. O'Reilly gets the ball into the front post. Dembele much better with his head, but it's a good save by the goalkeeper. Oh, if we just had someone, maybe we have to start Watson there. He's not as tricky, but he does finish those chances, and he's still got the same level of off-the-ball movement to get in behind. Thank you all for coming in. It's lovely to have such an active chat this morning. Nevsky, welcome along. Lovely to have you joining in. There's loads of us about this morning. But it's great to have it so active. Great to have so many of you in. Thank you again to Dylan for joining in and getting involved with a donation. It does make a massive difference. St Mirren can't score, just defend better than people below them. But that's just as important this season. Look at my team, Luton Town. We were in a relegation scrap last year. We've scored a few less goals this season, but we've played better football and we've got defenders. I mean, it's the only difference. I mean, it goes back to, I know it's a bit of a boring one and a shameless plug, but last Sunday, when I did the tactical special with Bangor City from FM21, and it's just looking at how you can restrict teams. When you're playing against bigger sides, you've got to find a way to defend against them. You've got to find a shape that suits. And doing that is a big achievement and will take you a long way. Look at Sean Dyche at Burnley. When they actually get the ball, they play better stuff than he gets credit for. But for the majority of the time, they're a very well-disciplined and structured side. And on paper, they've got one of the worst 3 squads in the Premier League every season in terms of individual technical ability. But they still end up in lower mid-table every year. One year they ended up in 7th and in Europe. There's no underrating what you can do with a solid defensive base. Look at when half of the old Galacticos went to Bolton under Big Sam. They were defensively solid, and in the final third, they had a free roam to go and do whatever with Okocha, with Stelios, with Borghetti up front, Henrik Pedersen, and they became an unbelievable side. And sometimes that's all it needs. Right, we're 0-0 here with 65 gone, so let me make a couple of quick changes, and then we'll go and get down in the chat. I'm going to take off Robertson for Malone, Dembele for Watson, maybe Smith actually, because he's a good finisher as well. But I don't really want to restrict the youngsters getting football. And then O'Reilly can be replaced by Holsgrove. I mean, if I bring on Holsgrove and Smith, then that's 3 of our 4 goals from Thursday night. Shankland was the other one. Surely we can get a goal then. We're going to get down in the shouts. We're going to encourage the boys because there's a few that are a bit downhearted. And now we've got them all on board. But 15 to go. Again, look at this. We've restricted Aberdeen. No shots on target. But we're not taking ours. And we do have stages like this in the season which become awfully frustrating. 3 minutes of stoppage time to go. We've gone attacking, but it's not going to be. But that's the good thing with a solid defensive base. We then don't lose the game. So 3 draws in a row. We're still unbeaten this season, I think, in the league. But we could have done better there. We could have been happier. Thank you so much to everyone for coming in, because we have got so many people in today. It's lovely to see so many of you here. Macca, good morning. Thank you for popping in. Greeny support Cody's statement of both teams awful defending. Tom said like a true Bolton fan. You can't not enjoy that a Premier League side has got half the old Galacticos and JJ Okocha. Dylan, I have to go unfortunately. Enjoy the donation the rest of your day. Thank you so much. It does make a massive difference. And I hope you have a good one as well. I hope Wigan get a good result. It's a big scrap down there in League One. 5-2 twice in a row, 4-4. I think there was 5-4 in 2005. Plenty of reds and penalties. Yeah, but then I know the odd one disappoints, but the Merseyside derby has plenty of goals in it. I mean, even some of the South Coast derbies have been good recently. The Midlands derby's often quite good. Shane, anyway, where do you think Dundee United will finish this season? In the save, not real life. In the save, third, I would think. We have to be aiming for third at a minimum. Anything below that is a failure. It depends on Celtic, really, because they won the title last year for the first time in this save, but they actually had a really poor summer after that, and Rangers have had a good one. So you can see Rangers have won the Old Firm there. They've got 5 wins out of 6. Celtic have dropped 5 points already. So if we're going to sneak second, it's if Celtic have a poor year. I didn't see if they finished the window with any style, because that could be the thing that ruins it. But the way we're dropping points against Motherwell and against Aberdeen there, I'm not sure we can do it. So no late signings. They've lost quite a few and they've sold players for peanuts. I mean, Josh Doig, we know how good he can become. But they've not really replaced the left back, Ricker. They've sold a big man for 20 million quid, which was a great deal, and they have replaced him. But there's more outs than ins, and if the squad gets weaker with 2 competitions, that's going to be a worry. Let me catch up with the chat. There's so many of you in, I can't keep up today. Macca, good morning. Thank you for popping in. Jack, good morning. Lovely to have you in the chat as always. Got promoted to the conference with Bognor Regis last night and given a job in League 2 with Forest Green. Got to take it. It's a great opportunity. And to be fair, Bognor Regis was my first ever head coach team on this channel back in FM18. Absolutely loved it. Brilliant side. Shane asking if he took the job. Shane, Malone at Dundee United makes me sick. Free kick specialist. He's brilliant. And we had him at Hibs in the head coach, ironically. A few seasons back in that long-term story. So he's been about on this channel this year. But don't forget, on this save, Hibs got relegated first year. So that's why we poached him. We wanted him and Nisbet. But we couldn't afford Nisbet because they still wanted a couple of million for him. Whereas Malone cried wolf, so he got out quicker. Jack, do you have your set your formation when doing a head coach challenge for the director of football to sign players when they need them? Forest Green don't have any wingers and I'm trying to get the director of football to find some. It's not set in stone, but I generally find if you have your main tactic set as, say, a narrow diamond, you won't then find lots of wingers signed. If you have them set to a 4-3-3, you'll get the wingers. So I would always say set it early because the director of football is normally working to your tactic. And like even when you have the recruitment meetings and things, it's set to what your current tactic is. So I would say it must play an important role. That's certainly the way I work anyway. This stream could be very disappointing in a minute if we lose to Ayr United. Because that's the competition I really fancy us to win. We won it in the first season. We've had 2 trophyless years. And without Celtic and Rangers, we've got to prioritise it. So we might even play the tired legs and then risk people against Hibs. Macca, Sterling Albion restarting the season today. Been too long. It has. But it's good to see they are restarting. Like the North and South in England has just become so political. So I'm glad to see it is restarting. Hopefully it's good for you when your club that you support's playing. I know it's great that football's carrying on and all that. But when it's your club, you can enjoy it a bit more, can't you? So hopefully you'll enjoy the game. Fingers crossed to get a positive result. Tom, can't take a derby seriously when Liverpool hate United more than Everton. Same as the Manchester derby. No, I kind of take that point. That's a fair point, but I would argue there was a stint where Arsenal and Chelsea was as wildly hated. But no, I agree with you generally, to be honest. And that's the same why I'd rank like Birmingham Villa higher. And Newcastle Sunderland, when they're together, that's a brilliant derby. Right, let's see what changes they're recommending. Siegrist will come in for Clark. Smith's cup tied, so he can't be on the bench. So let's get young Lewis Nielsen on. We've got some heavy legs in there, so I'm going to rotate a bit, but not fully. So Holsgrove in the middle. Malone into the midfield. Do I want to bring in Mikey Johnston, maybe? I'm not gonna. Shankland will stay up there. And I'll bring Jason Kerr in at centre-half. I think aside from that, though, we're going to leave it. Not too heavy a rotation. So that's 4 players, I think. Let's go and get into it. It's the quarter-final against Ayr in the League Cup. It's the only competition we've won in this save. And it's our main chance at one this season. Jack, I did take the job doing the head coach challenge. I'm glad you're getting on well with it. And once you get into the Football League, and Forest Green are a pretty well-run club, so I think you'll be alright there. Tom, comparing the North London to Milan Derby or El Clasico is wrong. It's not all about the action. I guess in terms of footballing though, in England, the North London or the Midlands Derby will always be better on the pitch. The Milan Derby is always an enjoyable one. I quite enjoy that. El Clasico, I don't know. They're a bit hit and miss recently. They seem to have lost their edge a touch, but I guess when you're in the city and when you're in the country, it makes it a bit different, doesn't it? And without fans at the moment, a lot of them, I mean, we had Watford Luton back for only the first time earlier this season. It was a terrible game. It looked like a Sunday League friendly, to be brutally honest. Well, Shane, that's the thing. The Old Firm, we talk about it. The action itself is the best, but the off-the-pitch side, it just gets so political now. It's becoming a bit tiring. And it's the thing that makes me sad is I know everyone's got their sort of club ties and you have your veil on when you're watching your club. I get that. But there's got to be an understanding of what's best for football in between a little bit, in my opinion. But I know I'm sometimes in the minority on that. As Dembele gets to the right side of the box. Oh, is that a pen? No, won the ball cleanly. I think that's the right decision. Long ball forward though, flick down. We might be in a spot of bother here. As they've got into the box, Siegrist is in goal. I'm a little worried. Oh dear. Why, when I wanted to win a trophy, did I bring Siegrist back in goal? I'm going to go and berate them. We're only 3 minutes in, but it's going to be a decision I regret this season. Ayr United always overperform on this as well. Northwest Derby. Yeah, that's a good one as well. Jack. Oh, we've not, have we? Oh, we're in the box. Oh, I thought we'd scored. Sorry, I got distracted by the highlight there. As McGowan brings it away, we look awful on the counter. We can't cope with them. Been a shocking 15 minutes, really. Jack Bangor in the Welsh Derby. That's not a bad one either. It's one thing I really want to do once we get back to action is get to a Bangor City game. I mean, me and Tom, when we're doing the 92, we've still got Swansea and Newport to tick off. I know they're not particularly close, but it'd be a good one to get there. But Shane, that's the thing, and Tom will tell you this, having known me for 20 years, is like I'm a very strong Luton fan. I follow them home and away. I love the game, but I love football more than I love my club. For most fans, it's their club and then football. Like if I see one of my players dive, I'll shout at them as Dembele scores a header. Good finish and back on terms just before the break as well. But football's first to me. Like, I don't want to see us win a game because our players dive to win a pen, you know? I know I'm in the minority on that. I always have been. But I've always been football first. And it's always about the best thing for football before for me. Tom, what kind of attendance would that game get? Well, Bangor, I don't know since the demotions, but they always used to have the highest average gate in the Welsh League. It was always around 600 average gate, whereas a lot of the other clubs are 400 and below. You wouldn't think it, because TNS are obviously winning the league most years recently, but Bangor are the best supported club in Wales. I guess Real are not far behind. Colwyn Bay have moved over from the English non-league pyramid. so they're going to have a big support as well. It's just a shame that all of the other giants, and it's sort of, you mentioned what happened with Rangers and what it actually did to the Scottish game for a few years. And the same sort of happened in Wales. Bangor, Rill have been kicked down. Llanelli, we had Port Talbot who were doing well. And it's just sort of ruined the league itself in terms of a competitive edge. I know Connors Key have made a fist of it now. I know TNS are in a bit of upheaval with a manager change. But they've ruined the competitiveness of their league. And Lawrence Shankland's missed a penalty. Perfect height for the keeper. Feeble effort. Not the best start. Malone puts the corner in. Shankland up, tries to recover. And the keeper's made a very good save this time. Not the worst start to the second half in terms of action. Not the best in terms of finishing. As Shankland puts another one over there. Andrew, too politically correct. I don't know, with football and politics, I know it's always going to intertwine a bit, but I'd like to see a bit more separation at times. When Carnarvon got promoted back to the top league, it was a full stadium, full of them. The fans ended up fighting in the middle of the pitch, scary stuff. There'll be a video somewhere, I'd imagine. But then there's no need for that. Just enjoy the football, enjoy celebrating. I always remember the day when Luton went to Notts County. I know it's not a rivalry, but we'd got promoted. Notts County had missed out. They'd been up the top the whole season, and they'd dropped down into the playoffs right at the end. And their fans stayed behind afterwards. It was a brilliant atmosphere because Luton fans were jubilant but respectful. Notts County fans just appreciated seeing a good football side, which was great too. And I always remember that and thought that's what football should be. There was a rivalry there. It was a pretty intense game because Notts County was still trying to play for something. But then it was just mutual respect at the end. As Holsgrove's in, we're back on course. We are back on course for the Scottish League Cup. No! It's disallowed. Doesn't often happen that late. As Malone plays down the line, that's an awful free kick. We talked about him being a free kick specialist. Then he does that. Mockery tries to win it back. It's hacked away as far as Ali McCann. We'll see some changes in a moment, but I just want to try and create something. Here is Malone in the middle. Shankland to McCann. We don't want Shankland that deep, really. Malone plays wide to Brookin. They're all charging into the box. He's got to deliver well here. Brookin in. Dembele's there. Good save by Much. He's been sublime today. Shane Harts have a saying that they stick by that during derbies. Blood doesn't show on a maroon shirt, and Hibs are the better team, but sometimes they just don't care. Look like they care. Yeah, it's a good point, actually. That in the derbies, I'm not talking about on the pitch. Give as much as you can. Get what you can out of it. And in the stands, be loud, be vocal, be supportive. But don't bring politics into it. But yeah, the Edinburgh derby's a great example, actually. Like, I really enjoy watching a lot of those games. Segrist out well there. We've got to give him praise when he does well. Just about stops the air attack. And now we need to make some changes because Mockery's knackered. So we'll get Johnston on for him. Holsgrove, Malone, McCann's complacent, so we're going to get Finlay Robertson on. Don't know which way round they're best. Probably like that. And we'll leave it for now. But I think we'll probably make the last change soon and try and throw another attacking one on. Greeny, I just saw Greeny's reaction to the disallowed goal. Tom, what's the best ground in the Welsh League? That's a great question, actually. I don't know much about the ground's details themselves. I did like the look of Bangors. Obviously, I had to look that one up when I was starting. I've seen a few of them on the telly as we've got a goal. Mikey Johnston, the super sub. You don't get changes like that too often, do you? I don't often toot my own horn as a manager, but that is some substitution. Probably his first touches as well. Get Zlatan to talk to anyone involved with the old firm. Rivalry with mutual respect. You sure that's a rivalry? Yeah, absolutely. The same as like the Merseyside derby. Because the fans, like, there's so many split households in terms of Liverpool-Everton. Like, the respect towards, like, the Hillsborough disaster and things like that. That's still mutual respect. But the derby is fierce. It doesn't change that. You know, but there's still that level of respect there largely. There's always going to be idiot fans. Don't get fooled by that. As Holsgrove has just hit one of the most feeble efforts into the back of the net. We're 3-1 up now. Shankland hasn't scored, so I'm going to give him a rest because he's a little bit tired. And young Darren Watson will get a chance against the club that made his name. He was on loan here and won the top scorer in the league. Their first year back, and he led them to a top half finish. as Murdoch picks it up to McGowan. We don't want to have made that too early. Good clearance by Kerr. Gets it away as far as Staunton. And that's the one thing this year. We've got a slightly better squad. We've probably not improved the first 11 really. But we've got a better squad. And we're able to rotate 4 or 5 like we did against Mulder. Like we have here. And still compete at the top level. As the ball into the back post finds Henderson. And is comfortably headed over the bar. Yeah, Greeny. It was a weird disallowed goal. I'll say that. Jack Banger's old stadium was right in the middle of town. The new one is on the outskirts and it's taken something away. But the best thing about the Welsh ground is normally the views, not the stands. Well, it's the same as the top end of Scotland, isn't it? Like Inverness, Fort William's unbelievable. There's some absolute crackers there. Thank you to everyone coming in as well. If you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. It does make a massive difference as we might be in for 4. Holsgrove's 1 tip behind. And I think he's already gone there. Apparently the fans are leaving early. Don't see much evidence of that. Thank you again to Dylan for the donation at the start of the morning. It is greatly appreciated. And thank you to Josh, to SOF and to Greeny for the ones in previous weeks too. They all do make a massive difference. Thank you for all your activity in the chat. It's lovely to just talk football for an hour and take our minds off all of the normal world stresses, isn't it? And it's all the support on the videos as well has been stunning. So thank you all for coming along as always. Thank you for choosing to spend your Saturday morning with me. And we are through to the semi-final of the Cup. And we are favourites because Celtic and Rangers are both out. We just need a good draw. We'll see who else have got through when we get down there. But I don't know what to do here. And I'm going to need your advice on this one. For the regular FM players among you. We have got the Hibs game on Saturday. Where a lot of players will be tired. But after that, we've got an 8-day break to the next league fixture. And the game in between is away to Lyon in the Europa League, which is the game we've written off, basically. We've beaten Mulder at home, and if we can draw away to them, that's probably 3rd place wrapped up, which means Europa Conference after Christmas. Besiktas, I'll test the water a bit. But instead of resting everyone against Hibs, do I do it against Lyon away from home, and just accept my fate for that result? I think we probably have to. But if you disagree, let me know, of course. Tom, thank you, pal. Much appreciated. Thank you to everyone getting involved. It really is appreciated. Your support is great. And thank you as always. I think the donation things worked again. It's lovely to see. But thank you all for your kind support. Thank you for getting involved. And it's just lovely to talk football and have the chats. Tom, the views from Vaduz's ground look incredible. Are they they're the Lichtensteinian team that play in the Swiss League, is that right? Because they're always one of the main challenges on FM. Isn't it near the castle or something? If I remembered rightly. Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? That's a cracking little stadium. Yeah, I like the look of that one. I'll agree with you there. Tom, as I demonetised the video, I need to make amends. I'll get you a cut of the Review the 92 series. And on a genuine note, and I know it's a side note, and I mean, you and I and most other people have probably forgotten, and our first video back will be very rusty. But I'd love to get Review the 92 back when we can finally go to a new ground together again. To think that, it's over a year now. The 7th of March last year, we went to Wigan for the worst 0-0 draw ever. But I said about 6 months in that I don't know if I'd go back and pay for that game again if we were going. I'd bite your hand off for it now. I'd absolutely love to watch it. Andrew, I'd play the best team. Fans wouldn't be happy. I don't know. But you say that. We've rested people at home to Celtic and got a good result. I don't know if our backup team is that much weaker now. I guess it partly depends who we get in the semis of this. Hamilton, Dunfermline and Motherwell are left. You can see why we're favourites. Dunfermline we've battered this season already. Hamilton are having a good year again. They finished 3rd 2 seasons ago. Have they still got that Andrew Winter? They have. He's a brilliant striker. Worth 5 million quid. Surprised he's not been poached yet. And then Motherwell are having a poor season. We've got to hope for Dunfermline. They're out first. Perfect. So Dunfermline, the side who at the start of the season... Oh, we haven't played... Oh, yeah, we did. We beat them 2-0. It was a very comfortable day at the office. We rested a few and we still got the result. So with that, it gives us a great chance at a trophy. So I think I'm going to prioritise the league third. Greeny Cody, would you rather have a Pelican's beak or a giraffe's neck? Shane, I can tell you haven't been in the chat for many of these streams. Andrew Green is the master, and Charlie when he comes in as well, of the most odd questions you'll ever have. What was it last week, Greeny? Wasn't it nipples for noses or noses for nipples? So, I mean, you're going to get that with Andrew, I'm afraid. Charlie's are normally food related. He's a man of few words, Andrew Green, but when he does, they're normally spectacular. Would you rather a pelican's beak or... I tell you what, that's a great question. I tell you what, it gets you thinking, if nothing else. You've got to go pelican's beak. You've got to go pelican's beak, I mean. Yeah, Tom has as well. I think he meant beak there. I'm presuming that's autocorrect. I mean, if I had a giraffe's neck, I wouldn't fit in this room and you wouldn't have me on camera. The pelican's beak, I'd just look like... You know, I'd look like a bit of a chicken, and we're going to bottle plenty of things, so I'm not worried about that. First time in Europa League for 20 plus years. You need to give it your best shot. I don't think it is. Hold on a minute. I can't remember last year. Last year we were Europa Conference. No, so 2 years ago we were in Europa League. I can't remember what we did. It's that long ago. We finished. To be fair, you've made a good point now, because last time we were in Europa League, we finished bottom. And remarkably, we had Besiktas, which I seem to have completely forgotten about. But we've just signed up our two best youngsters to professional deals as well. Now they've turned 16. It's a year younger in Scotland than it is in England. And it's a year later in Wales as well, I think. Yeah, Tom went beak. So you're actually right now, Andrew. Given the ridiculous nature of our last effort in the Europa League, we might have to go for it. But then, I guess, if you have a look, we've done better already by picking up 3 points. And as long as we're in Europe after Christmas, do we count that as success? Because then we have a chance to actually potentially go and win something. Although we did lose to Shamrock last year, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. Mark, hands for feet or feet for hands? Oh, there's a lot of crackers coming out today. I'd go hands for feet, because now I don't play football anymore at a competitive level. I don't think that would affect me too much. Whereas your hands, they're on display all the time. Look, half of my stream, you can see it. And if there was a cheesy foot there, it would A, distract me, and B, put a few people off. So that's my thought on it. Thank you to everyone coming in as well. Lovely to have so many of you here. It's been an incredible morning. It's been the most active stream we've had in a long, long time. So thank you all for getting involved. I told you FA Cup weekends were special, didn't I? If you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. There'll be a full replay afterwards if you've missed any of the action, so don't worry if you're popping in late. Thank you to Dylan and for Tom for the donations. They do make a massive difference. And I will get a quick plug in while you're all here as well. The new FM Insight series continues tomorrow morning. I'm having a look at one of the areas of the game that's probably the most unused across the FM community. And it's one that is really important to the way I play, but I can never show in the stories, which is match analysis. It's something that in real football is so important now. Any of you that are involved in it will be able to say that. But we're going to take a real look into match analysis. And after looking at the tactic last week, and how we've set up the narrow diamond with Banga, I'm going to try and see, without having looked previously in the last 5 games, as whether that stacks up into the match reports and into the match analysis. And I might look silly, but hopefully it will prove why our tactic works. The first few years it didn't, and I was constantly tweaking based on what was happening in match analysis. And that's something that I don't really get to show in the saves, because you'd all be bored to death. But I hope that the match analysis special, for those of you that don't use it, will at least be an indicator as to why I think it's so important. But if you're expecting ultimate entertainment tomorrow morning, then don't turn up. Stick with the 2 3:30 episodes, The Head Coach and Bangor City. And we've had transfer specials the last 2 days as well, so they've been massive too. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone getting involved as well. It's been a brilliant morning. I'm really enjoying this one. Thank you all for spending your morning with me. And now we've just got to try and keep this up, because I've made my decision, and I know a few of you don't agree. I'm going to bypass the Lyon away game. It's the only Europa League one I'm going to do it, because we're not going to beat them. But Hibs away, we've got to go first choice. I know Mitchell's a little tired. I know there's a few others that are as well. But first team today. So Xander Clark back in goal. Who else did we rest? We had Matt O'Reilly. In fact, Holsgrove had a really good game again. He might overtake him soon. And O'Reilly, after that good start to the season, albeit still top scorer, is just dropping off. Finley Robertson back in. Finley back in for Kerr at centre-half. And I think that is then our first team again, is it not? So that's it. Is there anyone else on the bench? Smith can't play again because he's ineligible. So he'll definitely start on Thursday night. But I think that's the first 18. What I'm going to do, actually, one change I will make. Mockery out for Johnston. Because Johnston's been good off the bench the last couple. And Mockery looks shattered. So we'll just give him a rest. And into the game we go. Hibs v Dundee United. Probably the entertainers of this save, I would say, Hibs. Relegated first year. Promoted second year. Back into Europe now. Really pushed us for third last season. Obviously, they lost Stevie Malone to us. I think they've kept hold of Nisbet the whole time, which they have. They've got a unique tactic. They really surprised some teams. They're probably the ultimate entertainers of this save. We had it with the Dawkins save in FM20, where Nottingham Forest, they went down to League One. No, they didn't. The first year, they won the FA Cup. They went into Europe. They went down to League One. They came back up. They won the title. They came back down. It was just bizarre. Warpers, good morning. Lovely to have all the regulars in as always. Thank you for popping in. It's been so active this morning. So many of you have popped in. It's been lovely to see you all. I hope you're all doing well. And I hope we don't concede it. As O'Reilly nicks it from a lucky breakaway. Now can we counter them? Half an hour on the clock. It's been a pretty drab game in truth. As McCann gets wide to Brookin. In from O'Reilly. Lovely ball to Shankland. And he's just out of scoring touch at the minute. Only a couple of penalties in the last month and a half. And it's probably the only thing we're missing. If we can get Shankland scoring again, I think we'll probably be contending with Celtic. But they're 4-0 up against Inverness, a side that we battered as well. We know they're not the best team in the league. But we're still doing all right. We've got to end the run of draws here and just try and nick a victory. Nisbet gets it out to Liam Smith, who obviously started this save as our right back. Went from St Johnstone after they got relegated in the summer. Johnston over the top though. Here's Shankland. Can he end the goal drought? Oh, that's lovely. Mikey Johnston, the right decision. He comes in and gets the assist. And Lawrence Shankland with a wonderful finish. And just like that, he's absolutely fine. Whopper's been a while since I actually managed to catch a stream. I do appreciate it either way. I know as things are changing in the world at the minute, people have got very quickly fluctuating lives, different lifestyles, working from home, working at work, school at home, school at work, school at school, school at home, sorry. And things are a bit all over the place. So thank you for everyone who can pop in. Even if not, you can catch up afterwards. You can watch the videos, obviously. And I've seen you in the comments to plenty of them. So thank you for being a regular supporter. It does make a difference. Tom, are you up for a trip to Vaduz? I'm not sure. The only stat I ever remember about Lichtenstein is the fact that from geography, for some reason, it's the only country that's doubly landlocked in Europe. I always remember that. It's the only thing. And it's a pointless stat, and I don't know why I remember it. Let's have a look at Liechtenstein. Is there anything else of excitement there? I know obviously you could probably just get a train into Switzerland. I mean, you could probably make it a tour, couldn't you? Just Eurostar to France, go off to Switzerland, go off to Liechtenstein and just train your way for a few countries and a few football matches. But unfortunately, while we're working in normal jobs with limited annual leave, that's not going to happen, unfortunately. It is the one thing I'd sort of like to do later down the line, whether it's in the UK or elsewhere, is just go on like a couple of 2 weekly tours and just get 4 or 5 games in, like between the international breaks where you've got fixtures every midweek. See different cities in the country and take in football matches too. Greeny, Liam still goes on about that. See, you can tell him. You can tell him. That's where I got that stat. He must be the man who gave it to me. I can't imagine. There's not anyone else who told me anything about history or geography that I ever listened to. So, it must have been him. But there you go. You can tell him that that's exactly what I remember. I remember that from his... It's the only geography thing I remember, bar capital cities. And it's one of his specials. And he hasn't taught me since I was 10 years old. So, there you go. He must be a good teacher because it sticks. As the ball comes down the left-hand side, our right. Hibs are 2-0 down, but they're trying to get back into it here. And they might do because we're in a bad position. Kinsella shoots. Oh, just when it looked like we were going to win a game comfortably, we're back in a spot of bother. I'm going to make some changes. Robertson for Malone. Dembele off, and Darren Watson on. And the last one will be O'Reilly for Holsgrove, I think. We'll give Mockery the full rest. We'll try and keep the lads in. Mitchell can't be in the squad in midweek. He's absolutely shattered. But they've got 8 days off now. As Malone gets it... McCann, gets it out to Brookin. Finds Watson to Brookin again. Into Ted and Mengi. Runs into the opposition half unopposed. I'd quite like a third here. Mikey Johnston comes out of the challenge with the ball from former player Liam Smith. Mitchell gets it on the left. Please just get the third goal. Mitchell goes miles back to McCann. Does it open up space though to Brookin? Given away. Long ball forward. Oh, Dadashov's won it. It's a lovely touch. Out to the left-hand side. And this is where we've been vulnerable this year. On the counter-attack, we've looked really poor. And I know we've lost the holding midfielder. But overall, we've not really changed the shape. And it is a shame that it's sort of costing us a fair few points here. Henderson chips it up. What's the defender doing? Finley's awful there. And it's back on terms. We're going to berate them because it's been a pathetic 15 minutes. But we're running out of legs again. And the fatigue is getting there. Tom's inviting Greenie as well. Sounds good. You'll be waiting a while for that, Greenie. Let me tell you that, pal. You'll get him out of the UK eventually, of course. Of course, absolutely no problem. But there's plenty in the UK I haven't done yet, because we barely travelled. I mean, growing up, we didn't have money, so we didn't travel anywhere. But even now, doing the 92, that's been a great experience. Obviously, it's been curtailed heavily, and we'll get back to it as quickly as possible. But that, for me, has been incredible. Really enjoyed it. Dylan, you're back. Thank you for popping in. Lovely to have you along again. Thank you to yourself and for Tom for the donations earlier. They do make a massive difference. I'd be up for Dortmund, absolutely. Oh, no. Someone explain this. If you want to know why we won't break the top 2, this is why. It infuriates me. Dundee United infuriate me. We've thrown away a 2-goal lead after the hour mark, looking so comfortable. And it's these results that pop up every month that make me want to leave Dundee United. Again, 4 league games without a win now, and just, there's always a crisis round the corner at Dundee United. You can never just have a long, extended good run. And there you go. That's absolutely spot on from the reporter. You must feel robbed. How on earth did you lose it? We didn't take our chances well enough. We can't just keep saying that, oh, we were unlucky or we got caught on the break. It's not good enough. We've got to increase our standards. Luckily for us, Rangers lost. So it is levelling up the league a little bit, but you could argue we could be in trouble from the teams below there. And last time that happened, we didn't even make third. We were lucky to avoid the sack. So it is suddenly becoming a crisis here. I'm just looking at the jobs as well, but we haven't got a big reputation. We really haven't. What I want to do is win the League Cup, get through in the Europa League, or at least stay in Europe, and then potentially look for a job. Dylan, if you could visit any ground in Europe, what would it be? I genuinely don't know. I mean, there's a lot in the UK that I'd love to visit that I haven't yet done. So there's plenty close to home I could say that for. I don't know. Inverness looks amazing, I've got to say. Jack, have we been offered any other jobs? No. So we've only got 1.5-star reputation. We've got 1 coaching badge. They wouldn't let us take the second one earlier. So let's see if we can now. There we go. So that will hopefully edge it up towards 2. But despite the fact we won the League Cup last year, the fact that we've been in Europe 2 seasons, you would expect the reputation to have grown a bit more, but it's not to be. We were in the Scottish Cup final last year, don't forget. But there we are. We will get a job eventually. Dylan, mine would be Ajax. So I've said, like, big European side wide, Dortmund, it looks a good one for me. But then even in England, I've never been to Old Trafford. I've never been to... I mean, I haven't been to a lot of the London ones because I've never been a big fan of London. But even like grounds on the South Coast, like, I'd love to go to St Mary's, Southampton. I haven't been there. So there's plenty of grounds in England I've got to tick off first, and in the UK. That's League 2 reputation. You might get League 1 if lucky. Well, I applied for the Luton job when it came up in the mid part of last season. That didn't work out. I don't know what to do about the side. I don't know how to resolve the problem. It's set up this tactic very similarly to how we've got it at Southampton in the head coach, which I'm not going to spoil how the series is going, but we're defensively solid, if nothing else. And we just haven't got that here. And we can't seem to enforce it. We can't seem to find it, despite having some very good defensive players. It's a very, very frustrating time. Thank you to everyone popping in as well. Lovely to have so many of you here today. It's been really enjoyable, this stream, and I hope you're enjoying it still. We'll still have our normal video at 3:30 today from Bangor City. We've got our new FM Insight special at 10:30 tomorrow morning. And then at 3:30 we'll have the head coach as well, sorry. What I will say too, as it's FA Cup day, is I've been asked by a few people in the Discord and that why we don't stream on Twitch or what the difference, things like that is. I don't really understand the differences and all of that, but it's something I might trial a bit later in the year, just with sort of a one a week, just to get a taster of it before FM22. But I guess, let me know if you'd watch it over there. It's not something I really use, so I don't know what the demand or the capacity is, but it's something I'd like to try. It's an untapped attempt. It's something I've not tried before. Like last year I did a network save for the first time. I live streamed for the first time, so I'd like to try the new things and see how they go, but I can't say that I'm knowledgeable enough yet to really know what the impact is. But this series won't go anywhere, I can assure you that one too. So we have got 2 games left this morning. How are we doing time-wise? Oh, not too bad. So we'll be wrapped up perfectly in time for the FA Cup game. Scotland national team production. We've got a couple in there. Shankland's one of them, obviously. I don't know who the other one is at the moment. Maybe Dembele, actually. Right, into the Europa League game. We're going to rest people galore. All of the heavy legs are getting a rest. We are going to go for Segrist in goal. Who's the backup right back? Dehaney. Morgan Boys will get a game on the left. Kurt will be in alongside Lewis Nielsen, the youngster. In midfield, it's Glenn Ray, it's Stevie Malone, and Paul Smith, Jordan Holsgrove. Who's off the left? Do I play Johnston again? I mean, he's had another good game, hasn't he? Let's play Johnston again. Mockery will be fresh for the weekend. Up front will be Darren Watson. The subs, we've got loads of players that don't usually play. So the 2 young ones, we've got Duffy and Byrne. Mockery's only got a medium match load. Got to have a defender on there, so Finley. And then one of the midfielders. Who's it going to be? McCann, very low susceptibility. O'Reilly, average. So we'll go for McCann. There's the squad then, heavily rotated. A very tough game away from home. We'll drop to balanced. We'll try and sit behind the ball. And fingers crossed we'll be able to do. Jack, I don't use Twitch, but I think there are a lot of people that do use it. Well, yeah, that's the thing that I seem to be getting asked, but all the others do it. So I don't really understand why, or what the difference is. Because for a lot of them, don't forget, it's their full-time job. So I don't know if it's just that they get a bigger cut of ad revenue, or it's easier to get, say, memberships and things like that, which at the moment I'm not worrying about too much. So I don't know if it's that sort of thing, but it's just, there's not really a lot of information onto what the massive differences are. Is it possible to stream on both at the same time? So using the old stuff I used to use, no. But this new software, you can stream to both at the same time, I think. So I was hoping to just sort of try it, maybe like over the Easter holiday or something. I know I'll still be at work most of it, but just one of the Tuesdays where there's, say, kids off school, colleges aren't in and things like that. Just to try it and see what happens one weekday when it's probably a bit quieter. It's not one where I'm going to want lots of people to come in. It's one where I just want to see if I can test it and it works for both at the same time. Because if it does, potentially it helps. But then do I worry about the fact that half of the people will be viewing it on each and actually I'll just end up with less viewers across the board? And then I've got more live chats to keep up with as well. So I don't know. I was thinking perhaps longer term, like for FM22 onwards, to just do like the twice a week stream I do here, and then maybe a one a week one on Twitch, or the same again, depending on where we are work-life balance-wise. As the through ball goes in, oh, that's a turn up for the books. I know after the last game we can't get excited about an early lead, But we are leading at Lyon. And I tell you what, if we get any result out of this game, then resting the 11 is a brilliant decision. They've got Maitland-Niles in there. They've got Paqueta. They've got Thomas Lamar's in there. Sigurdsson gets into the box again. Chance to cross. Cuts it back as a good block. Falls for Kone, the fullback. Into the box. Oh dear. Scratch that. Within 60 seconds, we're back on level terms. Absolutely awful. Great. Oh, I've got well ahead of that. Sorry. Greeny. Rangers have a bit of an injury problem at right back tomorrow. Patterson is a doubt. Can Simpson play there? Now, don't hold me to this, but is Simpson not a left footer? Or am I don't know who I'm mixing him up with, if not a Bournemouth. Gonna have to go and have a look. I didn't realise he played for England under 21s as well. It's pretty hard to tell because he's only actually made 20 professional appearances in his career. Lyon are ahead now. Let's have a look at what it says on here. They've gone to the narrow diamond. Lamar, Torreira, the likes, they're just too good. It's a different standard even to our first team. But the fact we got an early goal boosts the goal difference when we let in 5 or 6 inevitably. Kakare back to the centre half, which is Maitland-Niles at the moment. Lamar flicks it on. They're in again with Sigurdsson. Oh, this is going to be a long old evening. I mean, look at their front line. It's a top Premier League team. Seagrist had beaten at his near post. Of course he is. But it's going to be a long night. What I am going to do, I'm going to drop the fullbacks in. Because I think it's just damage limitation at this point. Shall we see what FM says about Jack Simpson? See if we can load up Darren Watson here. I might have caused a game-breaking situation. Let's have a look. So, Jack Simpson. Where is he in this save as well? He's at Nottingham Forest. No, I'm right. He's a left footer. So he can play left back and centre half. Have you got... Maybe one of the left backs can switch to the right. But yeah, I thought he was. He's a left footer. Haven't seen much of him at all. I can't blame you. You've only 20 league career appearances, senior level. But yeah, I just had a gut feeling he was left footed for some reason. So I would imagine not the ideal solution. You could chuck in an experienced player in there. Someone like a Steve Davis or that. I know he's lost his legs now, but he'd do a job there for you. Oh dear. Thomas Lamar has just run the team, but he's a world-class player. It's a completely different standard of opposition. Thank you to everyone joining in as well. Lovely to have you all here. It does make a big difference to have you all along. Have such an active chat. This has probably got to be the longest stream of chat I've ever had in a live stream. So thank you all for your support. Thank you again to Dylan and Tom for the donations. And thank you to everyone that's watching along and making it such an enjoyable experience. I'm absolutely loving it today. As Kone's picked it up on the left. What we might not love is the result at the end of this match. But I would like to nick a couple of goals. But there you go. Maitland-Niles, just basically a shoulder charge towards Watson. And he went flying about 30 yards. And as soon as Thomas Lamar picks it up, he runs through the whole pitch and then tries to do that. What can we do to stifle them? I think perhaps we're going to drop Holsgrove into the middle for Ray. And then we'll drop Ray into an anchor role, just so someone is man-marking Lamar. The anchor man on defend. And then let's go into him individually. And then it's part of the instructions. Where do we set? Mark specific position. Attacking midfield centre. And that will mean Thomas Lamar. So back into it we go. We're going to confirm the changes. And at least if we can keep the score down and keep the goal difference better. We just need Lyon to beat us by less than they beat Mulder, basically. Balogun played there, but he was shocking the other night. Well, he's not a right back naturally, is he? So you've got to give a bit of leeway. At least it's happened at this point of the season. Just wondering if it might give a youngster a chance. You never know. I'm trying to remember the Rangers squad. What about I don't know if he's available, and I don't know how he's thought of after recent events. But what about Calvin Bassey? Is he available still? Because he would be a player that could do it. It's just whether you throw a youngster into a game of that magnitude, really, isn't it? Right, we got 10 minutes to go. It's not been a good night. Smith has got the injury, the one who we wanted to last. We'll bring on Burn for him. And do you know what? We'll just do the other side as well. Duffy can come on for Johnston. Or do I bring one of the youngsters on? Let's bring Milligan on. Watson's had a poor game. Let's give Milligan a run out. Be a nice experience him. 10 minutes over in Lyon. A massive game as well. We've got to think about the squad as well. Greeny's been in squads yet. I'd say then if Balogun was poor the other night, I can see why he wouldn't have played Bassi for a big, meaningful European game. And I know it's the Old Firm derby, but I guess youth against what's likely to be a pacey winger, if they play someone of that nature out there, a Forrest, a Johnston, someone like that, then you've got to have a fullback who can run. And he's naturally in that position, so perhaps give him a chance. Smith's out 1 to 3 days. But really, this Livingston game becomes essential now. We've got to get back to form. We've not won a league game since August. 4-0, 5-0, 2-0. I mean, we didn't even concede a goal in the first month in the league. And now look at us. 4-3, 1-2 in our last 6 games. Not good. Livingston have had a average start, but potentially if we lose that game or draw it, we could be 5 or 6 points behind Aberdeen and chasing them again. And that's not a position we want to get into. It will be the last game of the morning, and then I'll let us all go off and enjoy our FA Cup football today. Nothing beats the magic of the FA Cup. And the games today, I know they're not the ones the BBC have picked, are probably the better games. Because Bournemouth against Southampton. Bournemouth struggling a bit under Woodgate, but had a great result in midweek. Southampton are in disarray at the moment, so it could be a surprise there. And it's a derby. And then we've also got the fact that Everton against City, it's Carlo Ancelotti, and I know they're at home and they've not been great this year, but that'll be the one he wants to win. Because if he can win a trophy there, he's written in the history books forever. And if anyone gets past City, they've got a good chance. Particularly if, like, Chelsea are in the latter stage of the Champions League, they won't be prioritising the FA Cup then. So we finish against Livingston. The first team will be back in. I've got to make a decision in goal because Siegrist has awful games. He lets us down. He lets in silly goals. But generally his average rating's better. And I know Jacob's not here today and he would be absolutely loving the Siegrist situation. But I think I might have to recall him. And I know I'm going to end up regretting it, but I might have to give in. We've tried so many goalkeepers in this save and just not got it right. As Glenn Ray is off to the physio, he's out for a couple of weeks as well. I guess it's decent timing with the international break coming. But it just shows that despite strengthening the squad, we've not quite done enough. We're not quite there just yet. And there's still a little bit of work to do. But the final game, it has to be a return to form. It has to be the recovery we need. And then fingers crossed we'll be able to progress in the next episode and not worry about where we're going. Oh, look at Celtic. 96th minute winner from the spot. Young Charlie McCann with a goal there. Come from the Manchester United and Coventry academies. Motherwell and Inverness. A lot of teams dropping points this year. But Aberdeen, 5 points clear with a game more played. Hamilton the same played, 3 points clear. We can't afford to get too far behind these sides. Because with us playing extra games in Europe and in a higher competition, we don't want to be catching up. So in terms of the reserve, let's get Stephen Dunn in there as well. In fact, we'll sort that out after because that's going to be the day after. Stephen Dunn's already in there. Ray Milligan is not about. So we'll go and do that after the match. But we finished today against Livingston. Hamilton have got a tough test against Rangers. Hibernian face Ayr. So it could start to really close up. But let's go and pick our lineup for this one. 10 changes recommended. Everyone bar the keeper, I think, from the assistant manager. Let's get rid of the unavailable players. Let's see what he's gone for and what we need to change. So Finley, in recent matches, has been pretty poor. Jason Kerr, bar the Lyon game, has been pretty good. So do we swap him? He had a big injury last season, but he was first choice before that. So let's do it. Kerr's going to come in today. We've got to make changes to the side that let in 3 goals from a 2-0 lead. So Segrist in goal, Kerr in at centre-half. The centre mids are the same. I'm going to keep O'Reilly in because Holsgrove had a poor game in the week. Mokri's back in and fresh. Dembele's in. Shankland's there. I think that's it. Let's just sort the bench out. So Clark off for Dehaney. And who's the other one? Nielsen's not normally there, is he? But Smith's tired and got an injury. So that's the 11. That's the 18. A couple of changes at the back. Are they going to pay off? Or is the winless run going to continue for Dundee United? Are we going to finish on a high? That's the big question now. Thank you to everyone that stuck with us throughout the stream. Lovely to have you along this morning. And hopefully we can finish on a high after disappointment in the league. I know we got a good win in the League Cup. I know we did well in Europe off camera just before. And against Lyon, it wasn't a disaster. But this has to be the big finish. Forrest on the left wing. Hero for us at Dundee over in the head coach earlier in this save. But here, with Dundee United, the rivals, we don't want him causing any trouble. As Livingston have got a throw in. It's headed away. Only as far as Robinson, though, who goes back to Crawford. They're keeping it quite comfortably. To Hunt, McCann nicks it. Good play. Good routing around in centre midfield. Back to Segrist in goal. Time to go forward to Kerr. Back into goal again. The two new boys shaking it up in the team. The new boys to the first 11 anyway. They're playing it between themselves. And if this becomes a costly error, we might not ever see them again. Kerr down the left-hand side to Mokri. Oh, he's giving it away. Absolutely awful. I've given him a massive rest to try and keep him fit. And then he's done that. Thankfully, Hunt puts the shot wide. He was greedy in the end. But oh dear. Dylan, I never knew Louis Barry played for Barcelona. It's an interesting world, isn't it? This is turning into a very disappointing run. I can't not be distracted by the awful things that are going on in his save. But yeah, I remember them talking about it when he played in that FA Cup tie. The fact that he played for Barcelona. He is a really good young player. And it's going to take a bit of time before he gets into the first team proper. But he'll be a good player. It's just mentality's always the thing at that age. You listen to a lot of it's been one of the most interesting things about interviewing current and former pros on the podcast. Is they talk about whether their attitude was right or wrong at that age. And it makes a massive difference. And it can be wrong for different reasons. Either too much confidence. Either too desperate to play football and not develop in training. It can be not being able to handle being dropped, not being able to handle pressure, not wanting to upset the big sort of vocal voices and maybe the big characters in the dressing room when coming into the first team. It's a variety of reasons. Sometimes for like the players from Northern Ireland and Wales and Scotland, it's just moving further away from home at a young age. There's so many factors to take in that we never think of as fans. I'm going to take Dembele off for Watson here. I'm going to take O'Reilly off for Holsgrove because he's been poor for a number of weeks. And you know what? I'll just do all three. Mokri for Johnston as well. It's been a really poor display. There's a lot that's disappointed me. I'm going to demand a bit more. And we keep getting reactions in terms of the morale, but not in terms of the performance. And I know a 0-0 draw would perhaps be progress from where we've been in recent weeks. But I'm not sure. In relation to Livingston, did you see the goal last week? No, I don't think I did. I don't think I did at all. Let me have a look, see if I can find it now. I mean, I'd completely forgotten he'd gone there, to be honest. J. Emmanuel Thomas, moments of magic to light up the game. Let's have a look. Oh, that's a cracker. Yeah, cracker. That is truly a moment of magic. Sometimes the media overdo it a bit, but not there. That's a magical goal. A 0-0 draw to finish. We're basically back where we started. We finished the last one with a 0-0 draw against Celtic. Are we concerned about our form? We absolutely are. We're now 6th. We're out of the European places. It's early in the season. We've not got to worry too much. But it's not where we wanted to be at the end of today. We rested the players for the Lyon game to get results. So to lose to Hibs before, to draw against Livingston afterwards, is not going to resolve that problem. And is not going to get us any favours with the fans. However, we're still in decent shape. We're still favourites for the League Cup. And we're still competing in Europe pretty well. So let's have a look at the schedule for when we're going to be back on Tuesday night. Of course, loads of videos to come on the channel in between. But on Tuesday, we will have... So what we'll do, we'll play Hamilton at home off camera. And then we'll come back for Besiktas away and at home. Rangers away. Ayr at home. And the League Cup semi-final against Dunfermline. 5 massive games. And then we'll just play a couple of games off camera and come back for some big ones over winter. So the fixtures have fallen quite nicely with us having the smaller opposition at the same time. In that we can then show all of the big games. But obviously I said that last time, and then off camera we drew 2-2 at home to Motherwell. So it definitely doesn't guarantee us any success. But thank you so much for everyone coming along this morning. I know the results were a bit disappointing. The 0-0 draws weren't the thrilling ones. But we're still going in the League Cup. We're competing in Europe. And it's still all to play for in the SPL. It's still early in the season. A massive thank you to everyone who's made this such an active chat, for coming along and being involved as always. So many of the regulars in, great to see. And 1 or 2 new faces in the chat as well. Thank you again to Dylan and for Tom for the donations. They are greatly appreciated. And hopefully I'll see you on Tuesday night, because we've got another big one to come.